Good morning, happy Monday. I had a thought I really should share right now on my way to work. It's really interesting what I do as I'm growing Media Dei, the business, the ministry, the dream, the fortress, the little castle. As not a lifetime business owner, there's a lot of things that I need to learn that I don't know at first, right? It's really a lifetime worth of knowledge that you have to acquire to start the business, as I've come to learn. And it's almost irresponsible to start a business without having prior backgrounds like I just done over the last couple of years. And as a result, I think the best way to go about accumulating that wisdom that's lacking, that's missing, is by having a very aggressive and proactive approach to other people's wisdom. It's almost a risk-taking maneuver in which you have to almost take someone else's word on faith and you implement their thought 100%, because you have no other choice. So the only way to do that correctly and well without destroying your business is by picking the right person to do that with. And so when you have a million choices and options, and you take some central key people of knowledge in your life, and suddenly the million choices get slashed down to just a couple of thousand. That's still immense, but a lot more doable, a lot more possible then. So, for example, I've mentioned Race Rollins a couple of videos ago. By the way, hopefully that design week was interesting for somebody down the line, a year later, 5, 10, 15 years later. I enjoyed filming it. But anyway, mentioned Race Rollins a couple of episodes ago, a couple of days ago. He was really helpful for me, along with Dominique Landry. Dominique was someone that was working with me in the same space. I needed advice on incorporating. He was just there. Thanksgiving Day, I still remember to this day, November 25th, literally the day after Thanksgiving. I'm working there, of course, in the office. Everybody else is at home. I'm there working. Dom is working as well. And we straight up a chat. Suddenly, I learned what he does, which is help small businesses with strategic advice. Before 5 minutes go by, we're chatting about LLCs and corporations and small, sole proprietorship, small businesses, all that stuff. 30 minutes later, I'm signing the contract to form an LLC and formally incorporate Media Dei. Of course, having been building it for the last 3 years, but formally incorporating it last November, all through Dominique Landry being 5 minutes away from me, really 5 desks away from me, on a serendipitous, fortuitous day after Thanksgiving when nobody else was working, and him and I were. And I went all in on him, and I trusted that he would formulate my application correctly. He knew the benefits of LLCs versus, C Corp or whatever. It was just his guidance, along with some others, that I just took on faith, and I said, all right, I'm getting an LLC then. I don't know what's what. I don't know which is better, but I trust you, and I will go with you. So I mentioned Race Rollins 5 minutes ago. Just the same way, we were building up our accounting system from scratch. And, that's like the last thing I know anything about, or I want to know anything about. As a creative type, numbers crunching, sort of meticulous, sense striking is very foreign to a way that I try to think about life. but I recognize how important that is. That's maybe the furthest thing away from my mind, but one of the most important things. My goodness, look at that. That just fell down. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Accounting is one of the most important things in a business. Whatever I think about it, however I rank it, makes no difference at all. Let me stand over here as I finish talking. Anyway, so just to finish the point, right? Accounting is vital, and I knew that. So what I had to do was make a call on which accounting systems have to be the ones that Media Dei uses up without knowing as much about it as I do about my own slice of the world, right? And so what ended up happening is, having done some research on things like QuickBooks and other things like Mint and things like that, Race Rollins rolls around, and he says, look, James, you have to use Xero. I teach accounting, and I have my own small business that helps with accounting. So just took him on faith and just went with Xero on the spot immediately, and never looked back, and have adjusted and adapted to whatever came up, but just went with it on the spot and sliced off, 500,000 of potential decisions and choices I would have had to make. Suddenly, one choice instead of 500,000 made my life as a business owner a million times easier. And so there are many times like that. I walked into my co-working space. I've never been in a co-working space before. And I did go to one other before that. It was kind of really not inspiring to me. So I went to this one, the one that I'm at now. And I walk in, the lady says, you can have a seat for a day if you want to try it out. And I said, all right, I'll try it, but you almost don't even have to sell me. 30 minutes I sit there, an hour as I'm working on my work, and I just say, I'll take it. And it was hundreds of dollars, very expensive at the time for me, almost unsustainable. But I knew that it needed to be done. The co-working space has been one of the most beneficial things in my life. For the business, it's been incredible, absolutely incredible. Having, like I just mentioned, having Dominique, having Race, having Christine, having Yuri, having Josh, okay, all these great people, operators, building their own little dream, their own little empire right next to mine, having that interchange of ideas. The IP, the combined IP has been astounding and very, very valuable. So that single one moment instant acceptance, taking on faith of something that I trusted and verified, but I didn't know the full extent of. I didn't know, I just believed in the right thing, in the right person. Taking that co-working space on a drop of a dime has been one of the best decisions in my life. Going to bat for something I didn't fully understand was one of the most beneficial things in my life. And so it's an interesting thought, like you have to balance between knowing everything there's to know and then taking a leap of faith almost every day. And of course, I understand at the deepest level it's all about providence. And so I'm not super afraid of failure. I'm full of anxiety sometimes, but I'm never afraid of failure in an interesting way, because I'm living in somebody else's sandbox, right? We all are. All of this is God's playhouse, dollhouse, sandbox, playpen. And so I understand that very, very strongly. And so providence is a real thing for me. It's a real stabilizer for how I think about life. So, not afraid to take risks, take a leap of faith, and even if it fails, to own up to it and adjust and adapt and pivot and roll with the consequences, because I know ultimately it's all going to lead to success. So that's been an interesting thought. Wanted to share that with you on this Monday morning. Best of hustle to you.